Hello student, myself Santosh Bodke, and today we are going to start a new chapter, direct and bending stresses. In this chapter we are going to study both direct as well as bending stresses. This chapter is for 10 marks and teaching hours are 6 marks. So what is exactly mean by direct stresses? Suppose we have one column and force P is applied along the axis of this column. So when we apply force along the axis of column, in that case the stresses generated are direct stresses. Pay attention please. When we apply force along the axis of column or body, in that case only direct stresses are generated. We have studied this in second and third chapter, so we can easily calculate direct stresses. Direct stresses we denote by sigma d. So sigma d is equal to force divided by area. Force is applied, force in Newton divided by cross section of this body. In this case, as these forces are compressing this body, so there will be compressive stress. So compressive stress is equal to load divided by area. So this can also be shown by by this stress distribution diagram. This diagram is called as stress distribution diagram, and this height of this stress distribution diagram is equal to value of this sigma d, which is equal to load divided by area. This should be sigma d. It is very easy to calculate. Only consider load divided by cross section area. This is the axial loading, and the stress generated in axial loading is called as direct stress. This is also example of direct or axial loading. Here in this figure, two opposite forces, these two opposite forces are collinear. So and acting at axis of rod, so it is called as direct or axial loading. Two forces pulling the rod outward, so this type of loading is called as tensile loading, and stress is called as tensile stress. Now what is meant by eccentric or non-axial loading, or when bending stress come into picture? If force passes through the centroid of section, centroid or line of action or axis, if a force passes through centroid of section, then direct stress alone is produced in body. But if the forces is eccentric means this force P is not applied on the axis of body, it is applied at a distance of E away from this axis. If the force is eccentric, it causes direct as well as bending stress. Direct stress we can calculate by sigma d is equal to P divided by A, and in this case bending stresses also get generated, and bending stresses denoted by sigma B. It causes direct as well as bending stress in the section, as the direct and bending stresses act normal to cross section. This is cross section, and direct as well as bending stresses act normal to this cross section. As the direct and bending stresses act normal to cross section, the resultant stress at any point in the section can be calculated by taking algebraic sum of direct and bending stresses. So here eccentric or non-axial loading, we have seen this in previous slide. This force P is applied at a distance of E from the axis. So eccentricity small e is equal to it is calculated in mm. So in this case, direct stress can be calculated. Sigma d is equal to simply load divided by the cross section of this member, load divided by area, P divided by A. And for calculating bending stress, in a fourth chapter in shear force and bending moment diagram, we have seen this formula. M by I is equal to sigma B by Y. So using this formula, we can calculate this sigma B bending stress. In this formula, M is a bending moment, I is a moment of inertia, sigma is a bending stress, and Y is a distance of extreme fiber from this neutral axis. Here this axis act as a neutral axis, so this distance can be called as Y. So the total stress, in this case there are two type of stress. One is a direct stress and other one is bending stress. So total stress can be calculated as direct stress plus bending stress. So sigma total is equal to sigma d plus sigma b. Suppose if this force P is applied on the axis of this body, in that case this bending stress doesn't come in this picture. In this case only direct stress is produced. But as this force P is applied at a distance of E away from this axis, due to this eccentricity, the bending stress get produced in this body. So the total stress in this body can be calculated by the algebraic sum of direct stress and bending stress. In this slide, we will study the concept of bending stress. So first, concentrate on this figure number 1. Here one column is there and load P is applied at a distance of small e from this axis, and in figure 2 what I have done, two forces added, and these two forces opposite in nature, so they will cancel out each other. Therefore this figure 2 will be equal or will be same as figure 1. So the effect of this first P, we will study the effect of this P in this figure number 3, and effect of this P and this P we will study in this figure number 4. Effect of this P we will study in this figure number 3, and effect of this P and this P we will study in this figure number 4. So as this P is applied along the axis of this column, here direct stress only produced in this body. Bending stresses, as there is no eccentricity, there will be no bending stresses. In this case only direct stresses sigma d get produced in this body. So sigma d can be calculated simply by load divided by cross section area, and unit for this direct stress will be Newton per mm square. So moving for this fourth figure, the effect of this P and this P. As these forces are not collinear and this P, they are acting at a distance of E from each other, they will produce couple, and this couple will try to rotate or bend this body in clockwise direction, or this column will try to bend in clockwise direction. So due to this, bending stress get produced in this body or this column, and this bending stress can be calculated using this formula. This formula we have seen in SFD and BMD. M by I is equal to sigma B by Y. So bending stress is equal to M by I multiplied by Y. Y is the distance of this extreme fiber from the neutral axis or this axis, and unit for bending moment is Newton per mm square. So the total stresses in this column can be calculated. Sigma total is equal to addition of sigma D plus sigma B. So what we have seen in this slide, when force P is acting at a distance of E away from this axis, in this case two forces get produced or two stresses get produced, which is sigma D direct stress and sigma B bending stress. If this force P acting along the axis, so eccentricity is equal to 0, in that case this sigma B will not be here. In this case only sigma D get produced. So this is important. Keep in mind, if there is a eccentricity E, then there will be two forces, direct stress and bending stress. If this eccentricity is 0, then in that case only sigma D will get produced, and the total stress in member can be calculated by algebraic sum of sigma D and sigma B, direct stress and bending stresses. In this slide I have drawn one column and force P is applied at a distance of small e from the axis of column, and this is a top view of this column, and this is a width B, and this is a depth D, and these two are axes, this xx and yy, which is passing through the axis of this column. This force P can be shown in top view by this point. So as this force P is eccentric, so in this case there will be two stresses, sigma D direct stresses and sigma B bending stresses. So first of all we will calculate direct stresses. So direct stresses, this P is here, so direct stresses will be sigma D is equal to this load P divided by area. So this stress distribution diagram, here the height of this will be equal to the magnitude of sigma D, and sigma D can be calculated by P divided by area. Remember, this sigma d means direct stress will be constant throughout the section of this column, and this will be positive in nature. As this is compressive, we will consider as a positive. So this is our first stress, direct stress, sigma d. Now we will see the bending stresses, sigma b. As this force is eccentric, it will try to bend this column, and due to the application of this force, the column will bend like this. This face CB, this face CB will compress like this. So here will be compressive stresses, and this face AD will be lifted up. This face AD will be lifted up. So here will be tensile stresses. So here on this face, here will be compressive stresses, and here will be tensile stresses. And the magnitude of bending stress varies as we move towards the axis. The magnitude of bending stress can be calculated by sigma b is equal to m by I multiplied by y. So we can draw this stress distribution diagram. Here sigma b is compressive, as this face get compressed, therefore this sigma b, and as this face subjected to tensile, so here will be tensile. Tensile means we will consider as minus and compressive as plus, and this extreme fiber, this CB will be subjected to maximum bending stress. This is also subjected to maximum bending stresses, and as we move towards the axis, the bending stresses reduces as we move towards this axis. So in this figure we can see that as we move towards the axis, the bending stresses get reduced. At the axis of this column, bending stresses will be 0. So this stress distribution diagram shows the distribution of bending stresses along the section of the column. So the overall effect or combined direct and bending stress distribution diagram can be drawn here. This sigma d compressive plus this compressive sigma b, so sigma d plus sigma b, and here this compressive and this tensile, so sigma d minus sigma b. So from this figure we can say that this face is subjected to maximum stress, and this face is subjected to minimum stress. So as we move towards the left, the stress get reduced. So the effect of axial and eccentric load on column, maximum stress will be on face CB. So this is face CB. So this can be calculated. Sigma max is equal to sigma d compressive plus sigma b compressive, and minimum stress, so minimum stress will be here, and this minimum stress will be on face AD, and this minimum stress can be calculated. Sigma minimum is equal to sigma D compressive minus sigma B tensile.